Hi guys, and welcome to Escape with Watch Reviews. My name is Steve, and today we're looking at my first tactical frog watch. This is the Sub 300T diving watch, and this is the latest version, version 3, and that comes with a new, just a dive time bezel instead of the decompression bezel that they had on version 2. So I'm happy to see that new bezel on there. It's a lot more useful to me. I'm not going decompression diving, so yeah, very happy to see just a typical dive time bezel on this. This watch was provided to the channel by watchdives.com. I don't have to send the watch back, but you know the deal by now. It's not going to sway my review one way or another. Watch Dives has been around for quite a while now, and they've got a really good reputation, especially with the homage crowd. Great customer service, free FedEx shipping on orders over $120, and they've got all the major brands, so go check them out. The current retail price for this watch is $169 US, and that does come with free FedEx shipping. The watch comes in 7 different colorways. So you have this sunburst white here, which is kind of a silvery one. And then you've got a coral blue, you have an orange, a white, a yellow, dark blue, and then black. So you have plenty of color options to choose from. You're going to find one that you like, I think. The watch case is made of 316L stainless steel. It has a sapphire crystal, screw-down crown, screw-down case back, 200 meters of claimed water resistance, a stainless steel bracelet and clasp, and they're all powered by the Seiko NH35 automatic movement. So honestly, this watch surprised me. I tried on the Thorn Doxa homage a while back, and I actually hated that watch. I hated that case so much. So I was kind of turned off from this case, but I'm glad that Watch Dives reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to review it, because even the real Doxa never really appealed to me. But now that I've had this for a good few weeks and had it on wrist, it's gotten a ton of wrist time and I have been loving it. The watch is definitely not perfect, and we're going to get into that right now. Let's get into the full review, but before we do, wearing my Octopus Kraken. This is the Oris big crown pointer date without the pointer date homage. I haven't worn this watch in a long time, but yeah, bronze is looking absolutely beautiful. I'm gonna leave a little review link right up here, but yeah, very happy with this watch. It's really, really cool. All right, so let's get into the dimensions. We got 42.7 millimeters in diameter. I've got 40 millimeters at the actual bezel. Case thickness right at 13 millimeters. A 44 millimeters lug tip to lug tip, and while you do have female end links, they do stick out ever so slightly, and a total length of 47.3 millimeters. So I think the short lug tip to lug tip, I think the way the bracelet hangs off of the watch here, slight turn down to the case here, I mean, this thing fits me perfect, absolutely perfect. I love the way this thing wears. Again, I was super surprised with how this thing wears. Very happy with it. I'm gonna go outside right now and throw it on my wrist for you. And here we are on my 7.5 inch wrist, and you can see, I mean, it wears great. Pretty compact lug to lug. It works good. It's got the perfect curvature for my wrist. You can see, I mean, it's just perfect, right? I mean, it's, yeah, it's great. Very comfortable to wear. It sits very low to the wrist as well, which is nice. You got lots and lots of light play off that Bezel Ice bracelet, which we'll talk about later. I think this thing looks great though. Very comfortable. Very balanced on wrist. I'm very happy with the way this thing wears on bracelets. So here we are in direct sunlight, and as you can see, it's very legible. Clear anti-reflective coating on the crystal does a great job. The dial on this version, very nice silver sunburst. I think it looks great. Very sparkly with the beads of rice, and yeah, very happy with the way this thing wears. So I am going to go throw this on a bunch of straps though, so let's get to it. Here we are, a dive watch on leather. Please don't bring out the pitchforks. I actually really like this. It kind of gives it a vintagey vibe to it, and I think it looks pretty good. What do you guys think? I know it's very controversial, but I've always liked them, and I think this looks really good. We'll throw it on some more traditional ones though. And here we are on a Melanese mesh, which I think looks all right. Maybe we'll give someone an idea if they want to throw a shark mesh on it, but yeah, I think it looks pretty good. Not my favorite setup, but not bad. And here we are on a black Riche rubber strap. Love these straps, very comfortable, and I think they look great on this watch. What do you guys think? a little bit boring, so I'm going to go throw some color at this thing in a little bit. Here we are on a orange pearline strap, which I think looks pretty good with this combo. This is a nice summer combo, very lightweight setup, and yeah, I think it feels good. One layer underneath the watch there, as you can see, still conforms really nicely to the wrist. Very happy with the way this thing wears, and yeah, this looks good. What do you guys think? You got one more strap though. And lastly, here we are on an olive drab Nato strap. We got 2 layers underneath the watch there. Still, I think wears pretty darn good. I've got no complaints with it, and I think it looks pretty good. Apparently I need to pick up an orange one though, because I think that orange with the Nato would look really, really good. What do you guys think? All right, let's go back inside. We'll get back to this review. So let's talk about the case finishing on this, and I think the case finishing is done pretty good. I've got no real complaints with it. You've got a circular brushing on the top of the lugs here, done really nicely, as you can see there. Get it right up nice and close for you. You have a polished edge on the side here. Again, done really nicely. The transition from the brush to the polished, really nice and crisp, very sharp, very happy with it. You even have a chamfer on the bottom edge here, so it's nice and soft on the wrist. That's actually a brushed chamfer there. So again, the case finishing on this is pretty nicely done. You do have brushing on the ends of the lugs here. Flipping it over to the crown side, you do have a signed crown with a really cool, I mean, some people think the name is cheesy and the logo is cheesy. I like it. I don't know if it's because it's so cheesy that I like it, but I like the logo. I like the frog. Yeah, really cool, especially for a watch kind of like this one. Flipping over to the case back, you can see the bottom of the lugs here. It is a circular brushing all around the bottom, and nicely done. Again, you have a screw down case back, just your simple notches to get a tool in there and get the case back off if you need to. You've got your tactical frog logo and then your typical spec sheet around the outside there. Again, nicely done. It's very smooth, very comfortable. I've got no issues with it at all. And again, these edges here, they're all chamfered nicely, as you can see. And I mean, it's just a nice, soft, comfortable case. Very happy with it. Let's talk about the bezel. So the bezel on this one, it's a really unique one, very unique. It's all steel. You do have orange on this model. You have orange inlaid into the numerals here, done nicely. I see no issues with it at all. You can see the outer part of the ring is rotating. The inner part of the ring is stationary. So that inner ring, you can see the alignment is perfect. The outer ring, it is just ever so slightly off. You can rock this thing back a little bit there, but it's one of those kind of spring-loaded bezels, so it does just kind of spring right back into place. It's close enough that it doesn't bother me, and I am happy that they did use a Lume pip there, so that is loomed. But yeah, I think everything else about the bezel, really cool looking, very nice. You do have kind of a sawtooth grip here, really nicely done. Very nice finishing, I think. It's all polished there. Yeah, I've got no problems with the grip on this thing. Very, very grippy. The bezel action, it is pretty good. It sounds a little cheap, but I think the action itself is really good. It is 120 click, unidirectional. Kind of light, really snappy action. Pretty notchy. I can feel all the little clicks, so that's good. And I mean, it's a nice bezel to use. It is, you know, there's no back play or anything like that. Like I said earlier, you can kind of rock this thing back, but it just snaps right back into place. But yeah, I think it works really, really good. Very happy with it. I've got no issues with the bezel. It is just ever so slightly off, and that might annoy some people, but it's really not enough to annoy me. All right, let's talk about the crystal on this thing. And as you can see right here, it's a reflective one, but it is a sapphire crystal, and it's actually really good. It's showing up a lot more blue here than what I'm seeing in person, so I think it's just my studio lights that are kind of messing with it a little bit. But there is a blue tinge to the AR coating, but it does keep the dial nice and clean, nice and legible. I'm very happy with it. It is a single dome, so you do have some distortion there, as you can see. And I mean, it's just a very subtle dome. I don't even know if you guys can see it or not, but it is slightly domed, but it does look really good. It gives really nice distortion on it like that. but not distracting at all. So I am very happy with the crystal on this thing. It definitely gets a pass from me. It's actually one of my favorite crystals on a dive watch that I've seen in a while. So yeah, really happy with it. All right, so let's talk about the dial on this thing. So like I mentioned, you do have 7 different options to choose from. So really a lot of good choices. This one here is a nice sunburst color. And I believe this is the only one that is sunburst. I think all the other ones are a matte, painted. So this one, silver sunburst, I think it looks pretty cool. I'm usually not a fan of silver dials, but this one just works for me. You do have applied markers at all the hours, except for the 3 o'clock, which has a date window. The applied markers are done really nicely. They're almost like a charcoal gray color. They're not black. They're not polished. So they do offer lots of contrast with the dial. I think they look really good. They're filled with Lume. We'll talk about the Lume in just a little bit. You do have the printed frog logo here at the 1030 position. And then you've got sub 300T, 200 meters, 660 feet. You also have Japan movement printed down here for the NH35 that's inside. Yeah, I mean, everything is printed really nicely. I do like these kind of crosshairs that are coming across the dial there. Really, really cool. I know the offset, the offset branding here kind of throws some people. I actually am not bothered by it at all. I think it's because of those crosshairs. It kind of breaks up the dial in a good way. So yeah, pretty happy with the dial layout on this thing. Everything is aligned, like I said. Very simple to read. Nice contrast. Really happy with it. The handset on this, again, Doxa style. You have really tiny hour hand here, but I think a good length. And then you've got this really big, bold orange minute hand. Reaches right out to the minute track. Second hand, again, reaches right out to the minute track with the Lume pip on it there. I think it looks really, really good. Very happy with it. Pretty simple handset, just flat painted, but lots of contrast. And you do have Lume on those as well. So I'm going to pop up a Lume shot right now. And here you can see it against a couple other, I think, competing dive watches. And it holds its own. It's pretty good. It's not quite as good as the Addy's Dive Willard, but it does last me all night long. I was able to read this in the middle of the night, so I'm happy to report that. The Lume could be better, but really for the price, I think it's very acceptable. Alright, so let's talk about the movement in this thing. So the movement is the Seiko NH35, operated again by this 3 o'clock screw down crown. So screw in, screw out action is actually a little bit gritty on this one. Plenty of grip on the crown, but that threading just feels a little gritty. It's actually gotten better the more I've used it, but so maybe there's something that's sitting in those threads. I don't know. Can't really see it, but yeah, I've got no problem with the engagement of it or anything. It just kind of feels a little gritty. So yeah, hopefully that's just a quality control issue with just this one. And yeah, the other ones hopefully won't have that. But again, Seiko NH35, you pull it all the way out. It does hack the movement. You push it in all the way, you hand wind the movement, and then you pull it out to this first position. And you can change your date. It is the Seiko NH35. It is in a ton of watches, and I like every single one of them. I've got no problems with it. In this one, I'll pop up my time grapher shot right over here. And you can see how this one's been running. Very happy with it. I've got no issues with an NH35 and a dive watch like this. Alright, so let's talk about the bracelet on this thing. So bracelet is actually really nice. Very happy with the bracelet. You have solid links. You have solid end links. You have screw pins for adjusting. You have these brushed outer links here. Then you've got your polished beads of rice on the inside here. These aren't individual little pieces. I'm going to bring in the spare links here. So as you can see, I removed 3 spare links for my 7.5 inch wrist, and there's a ton more links to remove. So yeah, pretty happy to see that. This watch is going to fit really small wrists as well. But here you can see that these middle 5 links here, they're all one piece. So yeah, it's not like the C-Stern. I think they have individual links. I haven't really noticed a big issue with it. It's always been comfortable for me. So yeah, just something to note, I guess. It could be individual pieces. Maybe they'll do that for a version 4, but even this, I don't think it really needs the upgrade. But I am pretty happy with the finishing on this. You got really nice brushing on the outer links. The polishing on the inner links is done really nicely. Very nice articulating links here, very comfortable. The bottom edge of this bracelet is actually nicely rounded, so it's been very comfortable for me. I've got no problems with the bracelet at all. Plenty of adjustment. You can see here I've got 4 more links to remove on that side, 3 more on this side. This thing's going to fit down to like I don't know, probably like a 5.5 inch wrist or something like that, so plenty of adjustment on that. The clasp on this thing is fine. It's perfectly fine. It's acceptable. I've got no real complaints about it. It is signed with the Tactical Frog logo and text here. Nicely done. Nothing fancy again. You got brushed on the top, polished on the sides. You do have a flip lock here, 2 pushers, fully milled inner, nice and sturdy. There's no slop or anything like that. So it latches every time. It unlatches every time. You don't have any quick adjustment or anything like that, but you do have 3 micro adjust here. Yeah, I mean, it's a fine clasp. This could be a milled outer one that might make it a little bit better, but honestly, I've got no problem with these pressed outers as long as the insides are milled and as long as there's not too much slop. Yeah, I think this setup is fine. It's nice and low profile too, nice and tiny, so it feels very balanced on the wrist. I'm very happy with the bracelet. I kind of want this bracelet on more watches, so yeah, been really happy with the bracelet on this one. So there you go, guys. That is the Tactical Frog Sub 300T. Very, very happy with it. Very surprised by it. Huge thank you goes out to Watch Dives for sending this one over. I've been pleasantly surprised with this. I've been wearing the heck out of it, wearing it to the beach, wearing it out to dinner. It's kind of gone everywhere with me. It's a nice, fun summer watch. And again, we are in the dead heat of summer, so this has been great for me. And yeah, I think it's going to go lots of places. It's kind of actually replaced my Addy's Dive Willard as my kind of beach watch. So we'll see how long this stays in the collection. I do have another Doxa homage coming in, so keep an eye out for that. But yeah, pretty happy with this one. For $170 with FedEx shipping and good customer service from Watch Dives, I think that's a great value. What do you guys think? Yeah, what color would you guys get? There's so many colors to choose from. Again, I wasn't a big fan of the silver dial, but now that I have it, I'm not sure I would go with any other color. So really happy with it. And yeah, I've been really, really enjoying it. I think that's about it, though. Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.